Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you. Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at Bricks Cascade 2023, and we are taking a look at the Vitruvian Wonderworks model here. We've got a couple of talented builders who have worked on this, so if you guys want to introduce yourselves, then we'll take a look at this amazing model.
Hey, my name's Richard, and
I'm Chris.
We put this thing together over the last year or so. This is actually me up here on the balcony, and Chris is down there in the little green car. The build actually started with that green car. A couple of years ago, Chris built it, and it just annihilated at the Brick Derby. And we decided that we needed to build a garage around the car. And then the garage kind of slowly turned into a workshop. And next thing you know, the workshop is 4 stories tall with a dirigible and an opening roof. So things kind of just happen like that sometimes.
Things escalated quickly.
Yeah. We like to think of these guys as multiverse travelers. So they're going around the multiverse and they're taking technology and bringing it back. If you look close, we've got a Tesseract in there and several Lord of the Rings. There's the one ring on the balcony precariously placed.
I love that. So just kind of little references and details throughout. I like the maps and the globe on the table there planning out their travels maybe.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, you'll see like there's Indiana Jones's hat and whip and snakes, because why is it always got to be snakes? Harry Potter, we got his parents along with the book he gives Dobby and the wand. We got some Star Wars there in the corner on the desk. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to put in enough Easter eggs that if somebody could stare and look at it for long enough, they could find all kinds of different things that might light them up. And there's more than just, a quick 10-second glance. So that was really what we were shooting for with that one. Just a lot of audience participation and a lot of viewing pleasure for the audience.
I love it. Now, of course, what catches, I think, a lot of people's attention is the lights and movement. So we can start with the movement then. You're holding the box here, the control box.
Yep. At any LEGO convention, you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of entries that no one can touch. And we just felt like that's so painful for the kids. And we wanted to make something that you could come and you could touch it and you could make the model move. So I'll demonstrate here. This button.
You're upside down.
This button actually makes the roof go up. And there's a purpose for that. We'll wait till it gets to where it's supposed to be. And then if we twist this big gear here, the airship will actually start to launch out of the hangar.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of heartache to make sure everything fit just right. But we were super happy we could get it here in one piece and working.
So what are the inside controls kind of like under here?
I'll give you a sneak peek. We don't show everybody, but that's actually a PlayStation 4 controller. And the PlayStation 4 controller connects to an app called Brick Controller 2, which I highly recommend. It communicates with the controller along with an S-Brick and a Technic hub. And you can tell it to do whatever you want. You can turn motors into servos or power linear actuators or any fun stuff like that.
What are some of the mechanisms like then that kind of actually move that up and down? Was it difficult to hold all that weight?
It was extremely difficult and a lot of trial and error, and it finally came to the conclusion that we had to use some sort of counterweight so that we can have that weight extended far out without having the motor struggle too hard. And this has probably gone up at this show here several hundred times without failure yet, so I think we're doing okay.
And we've sat in Richard's garage and made it go up and down hundreds. So these things literally gone up and down and open and close probably over 1,000 times. And we just wanted to make sure that it would last the whole show, that we could, hand it to the kids, let them just go to town on it, and it wasn't going to break, and it didn't. It really held together, and that's, to Richard's design. He really just foolproofed this thing to where it was just robust as it could be, and it's been a total success. So really, really happy with how it turned out.
I love that, and it's a great reminder for anyone who builds things with any kind of movement or mechanisms. Testing it pays off for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, when we were, testing it in the garage, it was strictly for science. It was not because we were having too much fun with it.
So the movement is fantastic. You've also got the lights. What can you tell us about the different lights throughout the build?
So with the lights, we went with a company called Brick Loot. who they're known mainly for their subscription boxes, but they also have a really great lighting system called Light Links. And what I like about them is it's not a light system that's just for a particular set, like the Disney Castle or something like that. You can buy individual pieces, and then they all tail together, and you can do like 50 lights on a single USB plug-in. And so we went with them just because we were able to kind of modify it and make it look exactly how we wanted to. So we have the street lights, we have some spotlights on the blimp, so at night this thing really pops. Of course, all the sconces, we have the Tesseract lit up from the bottom there. And that's just kind of the cool thing about that system is it's just so versatile. You can really just do anything with it. And then the light underneath the power station there, power generator, is just a puck light. Like you'd use for like your closet or something like that, just sitting underneath. And then Rich went ahead and did a net with 1x1s and the trans reverse plates. And that really just diffused the light and just really had a really cool effect on it.
No, it's fantastic work all around, but of course you've got not just the building, but you kind of create a whole street scene out here as well. So what can you tell us kind of about the landscaping and what else you have around the build?
Sure. Yeah, this base is actually made out of solid brick. It weighs about 65 pounds. I think we bought every 2x4 yellow brick on the western coast. So
because Rich insisted that it all had to be yellow underneath, the same color.
I know no one would see it, but I had to make them all yellow. I figured that it needed a solid foundation, and then everything breaks apart into 48x48 sections for travel. These here are just plates that kind of sit on there. We went with the what would you call that? The walkway.
Cobblestone?
Cobblestone, yeah.
Yeah, we went with the cobblestone walkway. Tried to make it kind of look 19th century England Victorian steampunk, What do you think, Chris?
And then with the entrance walkway here, the Lord of the Rings Rivendell set just came out, and I actually saw it built for the first time 2-3 weeks ago, and I saw that pattern there in the courtyard, and I was like, that is brilliant. I don't have $500 for the set, so I went on Bricklink, and luckily, I found a Bricklinker that was right in my neighborhood, and I was like, hey, you got these? I want them. And boom, they went right in there, and they just really made a perfect focal point, I think.
One more thing I want to add is our power generator here is what this is, and it's powering everything in the lab. And for the first time this year, we're actually creating so much power that we're actually selling back to the grid. So we are carbon neutral at this point.
You've really advanced here.
Yeah, technology has come a long way.
I love that. What are some of the elements incorporated in the whole generator there and all that movement?
So the whole thing is sitting on a gear differential, and it essentially allows the globe to travel or rotate at a faster speed than the rest of the build. These little outline mechanisms here are also traveling around a turntable, which makes them rotate at a different speed as well. So a lot of engineering, again, a lot of trial and error. It was not an easy thing to do.
I love the different minifigures and kind of vehicle type things you've got. Like this, I guess you call this like a crab type creature right here.
Yeah, that's our underwater exploration crab. Okay. And then we have our high-speed horseless carriage. And that car was actually my first Bricks Cascade build that I ever did. And I actually built it for the Brick Derby that happens. And it's now won this year again for the second year in a row by 1/1000th of a second. But what I'm really proud of is the fact that it is both form and function, because I can take it to the derby track, I can go win there, and then I can bring it here and put it right in the mock without even making any changes to it.
Yeah. So that is super cool. Talk a little bit more about kind of the collaborative process with both of you working on this together. Is that mostly in person, or do you kind of talk online and then bring stuff together?
It's a lot of text messages back and forth, a lot of late night pictures of look what I did and how cool is this. It started out, we brought this last year, and it was only about this tall. It didn't have any of this upper portion to it.
Didn't have any of the outside portions either.
And what was kind of neat was that Chris built half of it at his house, and I built half of it at my house. And we came to the convention, essentially, and put them together, and they just matched perfectly. So a lot of text messages, a lot of really detailed pictures, and it was kind of neat. After last year, we mainly built, at my house, just hanging out on Saturdays and Sundays and, having a great time.
Yep. And, what's really great about collaborating with Richard is an HVAC technician by trade, so he has that mechanical mind, and I'm a former graphic designer, so I have the form, he has the function. So basically, I'll come up with some crazy idea like, oh, it'd be really great if the roof opened, and then 3 or 4 days later, I get a text message with a video of the roof opening, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I couldn't have done that. Or now it'd be really cool if the ship goes out, and he goes, all right. And then 2 days later, I get a text message with the ship coming up. So yeah, really, it's anything that's mechanical, that's Richard, and then it gets passed on to me, and then I'll go through and tighten it up visually. And so it's a really nice collaboration where we fill each other's weak spots, because I can never do the mechanical, and for him,
I'd have a hard time at it.
and so I'll just kind of like, hey, let's go ahead and tweak this. Let's go ahead and add in some different colors and this and that. So it definitely is like a solid partnership between the two of us.
That is so neat. I love to hear kind of builders with different talents coming together and making something incredible here at the show. That's something that's so cool about the whole convention here at Bricks Cascade. So I heard you explaining to someone in the public earlier about this blimp. What can you tell us about the history of this piece for people who haven't seen that before?
So this is from an old adventurer set. So I think it was Johnny Thunder, and that kind of thing. Not many of these actually exist anymore because in the packaging, the blimp was kind of exposed and the plastic is really, really brittle and thin. And so they were getting crushed in transit. And so it was a really short-lived set because Lego's like, yeah, this isn't working. And even over the years, more and more of them have gotten crushed in people's collections in their Lego box. And I actually manage a Bricks and Minifigs down in Eugene, Oregon. And one of my customers knew that I really liked this blimp set, and they found it at a garage sale. And they're like, oh, we found this. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I want it. And so, yeah, I got that from them, and I'm super happy that I found it. It was difficult to build with because it only has 4 connection points. That is just an old school antenna that fits in there. So everything is really hanging from 4 little antennas. And so the original set was not as bulky, not as heavy. And so it was really a challenge to figure out how to get that sturdy enough, but not too heavy and robust, and also work with the shapes of the bottoms of the blimp to go into with the roof. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. And it's actually held up really well this weekend. Nothing's fallen off, thankfully. But yeah, it's just been a really fun experience to work with that and to bring some of that old school in with the new school. And it's a really conversation piece because a lot of people who are just getting into Lego, who hadn't been with Lego for that long, don't realize that it is Lego. And so we get to kind of give them a little history lesson with that piece.
That is fantastic. So what are your plans for the future with this build? Is this something you guys hope to expand on and do more?
We keep telling people if we get enough votes, who knows what could happen. But we'd love to make it taller. We want to add in a library. We've talked about lots of other different plans, but it is probably going to grow. Yep. What do you think, Chris?
So yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to add at least 1, maybe 2 stories to it, and probably another 34 studs out to the side. So it's going to be roughly twice the size again. And we want to add in some more power functions and the audience participation with the control and the audience reaction. Like, the kids who just don't blink. They push the button and just... And that's such a cool feeling. I want to expand on that. I really want to run with this audience participation thing. And so I'd like to make it so that we have a whole control board that controls all kinds of different things so that they can just sit in front of it and push all kinds of buttons and turn levers and that kind of thing, and really just interact with it even more than they already do.
Oh, and the elevator for sure. We were disappointed we couldn't get that going this year, but the plan is to add a lever so you can take the elevator from one floor to the next.
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. So for everyone watching the video, make sure you come to Bricks Cascade in 2024 then, and you can check out the improved layout. So thank you so much for spending time to take us through everything here. I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.